for joining the Twitch panel. Every year there seems to be fewer and fewer of you attending, so the few that remain, we are incredibly supportive. Please come talk to me later for some partnerships or some swag. I'm just joking. I do not have the authority to do that, but we do appreciate your presence. The reason why we're here is just because, as you can see from the number of people here, I just felt like we're losing touch with the FGC and sort of we've fallen out of love with the community and wanted to rekindle that flame with some overtures. But hopefully there's more people watching online, since we are an online platform, than there are here physically. But we owe, as a company, we owe a lot to the fighting game community. And a lot of things would not be where we are today if it weren't for some innovators in the space, such as... Does anyone remember when subs were $2.99? Yeah? Well, good sir, were you a sub during those days? No. Wow. So the FGC is so poverty that even when subs were $2.99, we couldn't afford them. Of course, with the current rise of inflation, they are now $4.99 and perhaps even more out of reach for our community mired in poverty forever. But that's okay. What we learned from this is, subs and even emotes were a big foundation of our first paid product. And back in the day, both Team Spooky and Level Up Live, and I've managed to find this in like the Google cache from like 2009, were pioneers in creating this. In fact, Team Spooky, he was one of the first 100 partnered channels on Twitch.tv, and he was even streaming before that on Justin TV. So, there's even a email thread with our CEO and our COO at the time, absolutely mind-boggled that so many viewers were coming through during like final round in like 2010 or something. So a lot of the dialogue that happened early on between those creators and they're still creating with Alex and Level Up Live and of course Vic with Team Spooky helped to spark our innovation in what we do here at Twitch. We're also part of the culture. So any Canadians in here? Oh my, whoa! Wow. Even in the back there. Good sir, did you wake up are you Canadian too in the hat? Lying down there? Yeah, so if you're from Canada, you'll probably have heard of something called the Canada Cup, right? It was run by Lapchi, one of the preeminent tournament organizers in the scene, always holding it down for Canada. And very early on, he wanted to do something that was groundbreaking at that time. He wanted to do what was essentially pay-per-view, and we didn't have the engineering product, and so we had to customize the site for him. And if you remember, it was a huge debacle because of many things. I think like the bitrate wasn't too good. You could watch it for free on mobile, so there was a back end, a back door that you could watch it for free, and it was an entire cluster. This is being recorded, right? It wasn't a good thing, but it was recorded in the annals of not only the fighting game community, but also at Twitch at that time. That was the last time that we ever did pay-per-view. And if you look up in Urban Dictionary, which I like to go to, it is actually a definition. But the point of showing this is that what Capcom, what Canada Cup did and what Lapchi was trying to do at that time was perhaps a bit too early for its age. But years later, we would launch something very similar to it, which is subscriber streams. And we wanted to, when we were doing research studies about whether this product would be a good fit, a lot of the product managers, a lot of people in the community that remembered Canada Cup really went back into time to see where we went wrong and how we could create a better product from that. Yeah, but without Lapchi and his desire to push the boundaries, we might not have the current paid products that we have today. So I wanted to go through some top clips of your favorite games, and I want to do a little game. And if you're able to guess the top clip for Capcom fighters, I will gift you a sub. You give me your ID, and I will gift you a sub to any channel that you want. So, and this, I don't want to see anyone Googling this or checking it out. So we're going to try. So Can anyone guess? What is the top viewed clip for the channel / Capcom Fighters? Perfect, Legend. That's Mortal Kombat, bro. No, good guess, but that's a good one. Any other guesses? Fighting games are so great. That's a very good one. That was a very memorable one. I cried when I heard that. Good guess, but no, it's not that. Yes, you Canadian in the back there. Interviewed on what? Download is complete. That's also a very memorable line. Close, but no, very close. Very close. Anyone else want to take a stab at it before we reveal? All right, it's closing. So, Bash, you were correct in saying that it was infiltration, but it's actually this. Oh my God. It's actually this clip right here of infiltration here at CEO.
Hard by.
Oh my God.
Yes.
No, but yes.
Okay, no.
That was a very long clip. I don't know if he's wearing anything underneath that towel either.
I always forget.
He would not answer that. See, this is a very dangerous camera angle. Now this is the one. Okay, oh my goodness. And the toss, very nice.
Venus.
I know, that towel. Hey, gamer bathwater is going for a very high price on the market. I'm sure gamer towels is also very valuable. Oh, shoot. How do I go back? Sorry, could you go back? So that clip actually has over 300 or 280-ish thousand views. And it came to be because it went on live stream fails, but also the inventor of that dance, is it Venus? Does anyone? What was that?
Venus.
Val Venus, thank you very much. Yeah, he actually saw that clip and retweeted it on his socials, and so it sort of snowballed at the internet and you know, shot up to the tops of the clip. So it wasn't a lot of other memorable things, but those were really good guesses. Tekken, actually I don't know the answer to this, but it's probably linked there. Does anyone?
You have one more on that page.
Oh, what?
The Pro Top one.
Here's another one. This is not the top clip, but this is also a very famous clip from Final Round.
Shout outs to K-Brad.
And this, if you haven't seen this infamous one, he just bodied the person and is now right up in his face, and everyone else is also joining in on the festivities. And a lot of trash talking had been happening between these two players, and before it finally erupted into an offline match with K-Brad as the victor. This clip actually found its way to World Star Hip Hop when I was looking for other videos, and it actually showed up. So I'm very happy about that. Next one, Tekken. I'm not actually sure what the answer is for this one. Does anyone have a guess? Again, if you get the correct answer, I will gift you a sub to any channel of your choosing. What was that? Doing what? Be a bit more specific, please. Harada getting beat in pools. That's a good guess. He is here this year, also playing in /Tekken, so it's always nice. And thank you very much for bringing up Harada, because he is actually a game producer that regularly retweets streams, and I think that that's a very healthy part of the ecosystem as, you know, game publishers who own the IPs throw it back to the content creators that are also helping them market. So out of all the video game publishers, at least in this space, I think that he is the most prolific and the most supportive of online content creators. So that's a good guess. I don't think that is it, though. Any other guess? Tekken, the highest viewed clip for Tekken. Okay, let's find out what it is. Oh, what? I'll just click on it. Let's see what it is. I don't know this answer. Oh, this one's funny. So it's kind of hard to see, but this gentleman on the left realizes that he is on camera, and he shows a clip of the player on the right cross-dressing so as to embarrass him. And so that's all very part of the meta. He's trying to throw his opponent, his mental state off, and found a very embarrassing clip of his opponent. And I believe the player on the right still won, but yeah, it's sort of like, if I were to make an analogy, if you're about to play, is it CSGO against like C9 Sneaky, and you show, a picture of the cosplay, but that's actually the top one. What? Oh my god. Oh, this is actually really funny. I like this one. This is hilarious. So this guy is the presentator for the prize for Tekken King of the Iron Fist Grand Final, and they zoomed in on his... Like, this is just great camera work. And you can see on the bottom left there, lighthearted esports. And I love the Tekken team because they don't take the esports too serious, and I think that's across the board. Yeah, that was really funny. But this sort of lends to the point, like, if you don't take yourself too seriously, as in the case of Infiltration when he was dancing, in the case of this gentleman who was really playing up the camera and that double chin angle, is that you can actually generate more online marketing and traction rather than going to the traditional route of being too serious, being a bit too esportsy. So there's great value in having levity in the content. Next up, we have... Ooh, this is a good one. Any smashers in the building? Smashers? Oh, we got some back here. And you guys are eligible to play along as well. I don't think you can know the answer. So what is the highest... Is this Smash Ultimate? Anyway, we'll try it. What is the highest viewed for Smash Ultimate? Highest viewed clip.
Yeah, the crowd.
So basically, I'm asking, what is the most memorable moment that the internet decided with their eyeballs that this was like the most hype thing? Any stabs at the answer before I reveal the...
We got one right here.
Yes, sir.
The crab.
So...
That was good.
That is a very good answer. However, this question is for Smash Ultimate and not Melee. That's Melee.
Almost.
That was a very funny moment, yes. And we'll see that. All right, it seems like the production in the back doesn't have... I don't even know what the answer to this is, but let's find out. This one is of some tournament, and I think he like down smashes 3 or 4 times in a row. Is that something? I don't know what that is. Is that funny or is that just skill? Probably a combination of both. Sorry, you can bring me back. I'll go to the next one. Yeah. So Melee clips. You two gentlemen in the front were actually correct. Come Simulator, but yeah, the actual, this one is just, has everyone seen this? This will blow your, okay, you have not seen this? I want to see your reaction for everyone that has not seen this. This is Smash Melee. So this game is as old as time, I believe like a 15-year tenure. Unfortunately, it's not here in the top 8, even though it generally produces the best viewership and has the most passionate community. But of all the great things in the entire history of Smash Melee, this was actually the most viewed clip of all time. This is during a tournament, right? It's sort of, these are the commentators. And they're going to pan over to the players. Oh, wait, this isn't the one, I'm sorry. And with no audio, there's no good context here. Sorry, is it here? Sorry, this is the golden one. This, right. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. This is the two players. They give the handshake. The match is over. Oh my God. And this player seems to have really good reactions and is pointing to something on the ground, and he picks it up. That in his hand, if you can't see, is a live Dungeness crab. Like seafood crab. It's not a prop. It's not a doll. It is a crab, as if it was coming from the wet market. And he yells to the crowd, "Who threw this crab?" And he's still holding the crab as it stains his hand with the seafood smell. I need to see that. Sorry, I need to see that again. That's just so, it's so ridiculous that someone would have a, like, why did the guy have a crab? First of all, how did the guy have a crab on him? How did he smuggle it in? Why a crab? Why not, if you really hated someone, why not throw human feces? Like, why? Was he a fisherman? Was he, like, what? It wasn't like it was at Pike's Market. So he handshake again. And why did he throw it at the winner? The guy that won Hungry Box, he won that match. So instead of celebrating his victory, he was instead met with derision in this form of a crab projectile. Does it mean something? Does anyone know? Like, I heard when you throw a slipper at someone, it could be like a huge insult. Yes, sir. That's a good theory. That's a good theory. Sorry, what would you say? Right. Okay.
What was that? Hey, he knows the story behind it.
Thank you very much for, and I think you're going to say that too, Bash, to your
Yeah, let me get
theory.
the clarification right here.
Oh yeah, do you have a clarification? Come here. Come on here.
Surprise.
So the story behind the crab was, do you know that meme where it's like all the crabs dancing and it says like blanked is gone? They were doing that because Mangel got out of the tournament, so they threw the crab to like reference the meme. But then everyone assumed they just threw it at $100 because they don't like $100. That's all it was. at least that's his excuse. So. Yeah.
Okay, so apparently memes can be very, very dangerous. We don't want to play around with that, but that actually happened live. The crab was live. The crab was live.
Oh, I got you.
Here's another one. I don't think it's the highest viewed clip, but I just wanted to put some together here from Daigo. As you can see from the picture over there, he is our brand ambassador. Here are some of his top clips. Oh, this is him playing Jenga. All right, this is a Street Fighter god playing Jenga on the first tile pool, and a Guile throwing sonic booms at Daigo. Does he have a life vest on him? What is that on him?
He lost on the first break.
Oh my god. And for people that don't know, Daigo actually plays Guile. This season, he's playing him upstairs as we speak. And so it was very ironic to be mocked by his own character and, jinxed to have failed in the very first Jenga pool. So very good at video games, very good at Street Fighter, but unfortunately not at Jenga. Here's another one, also from the same channel. You might know him. This is Fudo. So this is called...
Don't worry.
Hopefully we don't get banned on the TOS here. This is called a Taki Shugyo. It's a thing in, I believe, Buddhist culture where you stand underneath a waterfall and the water is freezing cold, right? No matter if it's summer or if it's winter, this is fresh water and you're supposed to purify the soul. And so this is what Fudo did right before Evo. He went under the waterfall. And you're supposed to make a wish, right? And the water's so cold that you're thinking about only one singular thing. You clear out all the thoughts. So that's a really cool one. Hopefully it works out for him and he does well at Evo this year. want to talk about this. We do a lot of localized streams. I thought this would be a more international crowd. I guess we got Canada in here, that counts. But yeah, we like to, I think that the FGC, one of the most diverse communities, and we also like to match that with our partner offerings in different regions so that we could broadcast the action in local languages. And just to transition, we have Ray all the way to my left here, and he's going to be talking about mobile broadcasting, aka IRL.
What's up, everybody? This is Ray from Partnerships, talking about mobile broadcasting, aka IRL. So basically, talking about how covering content does not always have to be in front of a computer. As you see, we have a lot of people or a lot of things to do at Evo, like interviews, pools coverage, and also booth content. So just kind of rethinking how you think about covering your content and how it doesn't necessarily always need to be behind a desk. And some of our partners that we do have streaming at Evo would be Daigo, Maximilian, and Cross Counter TV. So if you have any questions, please take down my Twitter. Feel free to hit me up if you have any questions or ideas on how to make that happen. And we could do some Q&A after too.
My name's Daniel from Partnerships also, and this is an attention to all FGC partners. We're looking to promote more FGC content on the site. I mainly handle the FGC accounts on Twitch. If you're planning on streaming any of the new content that's coming out this month, and this month is a big month for that, with all the new Street Fighter releases, Grand Blue Fantasy. There's tons of updates to Smash and their new character, and of course, the new Mortal Kombat character, Nightwolf. Anyone planning on streaming new content like that or new characters, please get in touch with me, and we'd like to promote this type of content on Twitch more and show more love to the FGC community. My Twitter is below, and I also have D1 included there also for the Smash community. You guys might know him already. Is that it? And that's it.
Well, that goes to the end of our presentation. If any 5, 6, 7 of you have any questions, would gladly take them. I believe that mic is live if you want to use it, or you could, just project your voice and I can pick it up here. Yes. Sorry, do you want to try that thing, if you don't mind? Or the mic right in the middle. Thank you. And could you give us your name as well?
My name is Roderick.
Hi, Roger.
I wanted to ask the guy about, there's been a recent incident with the IRL streaming, and what type of changes can we expect coming from Twitch because of that incident at E3?
Could you be more specific about the incident? Several things happened.
Specifically, the Dr. Disrespect incident with the IRL. Are there changes coming to the IRL content in terms of service with Twitch, or do the current terms of service you think cover that?
Our terms of service definitely covers that. Don't stream inside a bathroom. I mean, it definitely, there's no changes. I don't think that has to be said. I would say I would be more aware in terms of what you're streaming. I mean, that's a production thing. You should never be streaming inside a bathroom. And there was also a suspension, so.
There was a suspension, so
Yeah,
hopefully that would dissuade people
not
from,
about that for sure. Don't stream in a bathroom, please.
But please do go to the bathroom to wash your hands. I know that hygiene isn't the best in the fighting game community, so go there, but don't stream it.
What was that?
I know.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes, you, sir. Please state your name and your question.
Yes, my name is Curtis.
Hi, Ernest.
Wait, did you say Ernest?
Didn't you say Ernest?
No, I said Curtis.
Curtis.
Oh, Curtis. Hello, Curtis.
It's okay. It's all right. You still owe me a sub, so.
From what?
For that.
Oh, okay. I'll throw you a bit in your channel.
A bit. Actually, speaking on channels in general, I'm more of a newer streamer, kind of just getting into the platform. In general, I love the FGC. In fact, I love all you guys up here for what you do, and some of you, including yourself, sir, have kind of helped me grow up to be who I am. So it takes a lot of a lot of courage for me to come up here and say thanks to all three of you guys for what you've done. And I would just like to ask, in terms with being a new FGC streamer, I know you talked about being funnier, kind of just being your own personality, so on and so forth. What other tips would you give for someone that is coming in as a new streamer with the FGC? Things like you already said about promotion with the newer content that's coming out this month. Is there anything else that I could do to help you guys as well, as far as, you know, pulling in more people to come in, watch the streams, and helping out support in the FGC and what we do?
That is a terrific question, Curtis, and one that we receive a lot. If you were here yesterday, there was actually a panel with Spooky, Gutex, and Maximilian. And I like to bring them up because, you know, they're some of the most prolific content creators in the space, with the addition of Aris, avoiding the puddle. And I showed these clips today, and these aren't like the funniest, these aren't the most viewed non-gaming clips of the channel. These are just the top clips of the channel, period. And if you think about the top two creators in our vertical, which is Maximilian and Aris, avoiding the puddle, like what do all these things have in common, do you think?
Personally, I'm directly subbed with Max, and what I get from Max is literal, like, his enjoyment of fighting games, period. He also has kind of a different analytical point of view at looking at things, and he kind of is more of a realist, because I was there for that panel, and that's in particular some of the things that they spoke of. Aris is just funny as hell, you know. He's a great guy, and like I said, he's another one of those guys that's been around a long time, and I've seen him over constant streams, and it's just him. It's just his personality, basically.
Exactly. All these guys have very strong personalities, or in the case of the clips, like it wasn't taken too lightly. The person that was chucking the crab, well, that was pretty malicious, but I don't know, like he or she woke up thinking, oh, I'm gonna toss a crab at someone. You know, Infiltration put great thought and effort into his entrance into CEO, right? Obviously he performs very well as a player, but the point is, enjoying yourself, I think, really transmits itself across the screen, and the numbers don't lie, right? Like the internet, the people, they love that type of stuff. So my advice to you is to do what you enjoy to do, in the same way that you see joy really emanating from, you know, the channels like Maximilian and also Aris in his own way. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I always tell everyone is, just as a new streamer in general, is to just be consistent. Like, you don't need to stream every day of the week, but the 2 or 3 days that you do stream a week, just make sure you're doing it the same day and the same time every week, so that people know when to expect you to be on. And you said you love the FGC. If you want to grow in that community, I think one thing that'll help you a lot is just going to whatever locals around you, or going to more events and building your network, on top of just jumping into other channels or FGC streamer streams. But those things are, I'd say, the most important.
I think also to piggyback off of what Chia said, in terms of the consistency, I think that if you're unable to stream like 5 times a week, we get that everybody has real jobs, real lives also. So being able to balance that. So if you're streaming like 1 time a week, you're streaming for 3 hours, try to break that up into some actual structure. So that way the 3 hours that you're up, you have goals that you want to hit. So that way if you are streaming for a very little amount of time, then also you're building up that structure, so that way when people tune in, they know that they can maybe tune in at the end, there's Q&A, and also just like mixing it up, so that way you have goals, so that way when you're done after those 3 hours, it feels like you accomplished something.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Very good question. Any other questions? I see some newcomers to the panel. Welcome in the back. We're just taking Q&A right now, so feel free to go to that mic in the middle and shoot your shot. I have a question, since no one wants to help us out here. What is something that we can do as a company, as a platform, to help out the scene? Is there anything that we're not doing today that we could be doing better? My
Yeah, I think that's heard pretty loud and clear. I think also I'm in agreement that I don't believe that we've created anything to even help like podcasts, for example. I mean, we have a lot of talk shows that are going on and a lot of content that even we're doing up here that can be, leveraged in terms of extensions. So yes, that's loud and clear. Depending on how fast that happens, I can't promise anything, but we feel very much the same way.
Yeah, extensions are currently being developed. I wouldn't say specifically for the fighting game community, but those I think kind of have great applications to what we do. Polls, right? I think everyone wants to have a more interactive viewing experience, so it's not just when you see some of our current properties such as the CBT or TWT, it's very much a lean back experience. You're sort of just in your chair and your keyboard listening to what's happening, but as a viewer, I have no input. So anything that can enhance the interaction between the viewer and the broadcaster, I think will really play into, like our scene likes to get hype, right? So how can we capture that type of hype, not only through chat, of course, but also through extensions that inform and direct what the run of show is. And hopefully we can show off some of those stuff down the line, but it also requires that the game publishers who control the channels adopt said extensions. So there's tools out there, we just need to, run that up the pole to like Harada and be like, yo, we need this. This would be really cool for our channel.
And I don't think extensions are primarily dominated by also like us creating it. I also believe that extensions is the future, and I think that no one's really created or invested the time into creating an extension that changes the way that we use Twitch. So right now people are like, okay, cool, I use Spotify, I need a Spotify extension, but no one's really created an extension where like any broadcaster that goes live would be stupid not to have this extension, and this isn't something that is created by us. It can be created by maybe a Streamlabs. It can be created by an individual. So I think in terms of extensions, if you know someone that knows how to develop, that's also something that's wide open for anybody to create.
Yeah, and like I said in the previous slide, my hope is to promote more FGC content, and through the first initiative of doing it through new character releases, who knows, like maybe an extension can come out of that to highlight, clips or VODs of new characters that people streamed in the past.
Oh gosh, shoot. Shit, can you sorry. Yes, sir. Oh, were you just scratching your ear? So, very good question. I think that's two things. One is that the very nature and outdated business model of a lot of the publishers in our space that refuse to embrace the new wave, which is, as you mentioned, whether it be team-based or free-to-play, right, and monetizing off of a service as a game model, has yet to come to a tier 1 fighting game. And that is a big roadblock to becoming mainstream. The fact that we are, bound and loyal to a specific console, whether it be PS4 or like Xbox a generation before, is in itself caps us to being a very niche market. If I could play with you Street Fighter on your mobile device, whether it be iOS or Android, I could crossplay that on my Switch, PC, Genesis, Xbox, Nintendo. What was that Biggie line? All those consoles, I don't think we would have a problem of underdevelopment that we have today, because the fighting games, and I think we all know this in this room, does have universal appeal. If I see two people fighting in like the front right here, I'm gonna watch it. It is human nature to want to spectate two people beating each other up. Even if you are a non-violent person and you support pacifism, I'm gonna watch. If I'm modern enough, I'm going to whip out my phone and put that on World Star Hip Hop. And that to me is what fighting games is. It is one person and another person beating the crap out of each other until one's life bar is depleted. And so it's a universal appeal. And we are hindered by, again, the slow embrace of a lot of publishers to the new model. Until that future comes, what can we do as content creators? I really look to our top two guys, Aris and Maximilian, in that they have a constant cycle of content. They're not just grinding Street Fighter V or Tekken or the newest game, Mortal Kombat, like online, because it is a very, very frustrating experience. We, unfortunately, are very sensitive to lag. One frame of lag to a fighting game player is perhaps negligible to someone else playing another genre, right? So the online experience is very poor, and when you stream that, all it is frustration. I'm gonna get mad because my opponent disconnected or sent me some stupid message, or I'm gonna go on a win streak and my character will start teleporting, and so a lot of that negative energy and frustration from online play is transmitted, and that goes to the point of having fun. You're not gonna have fun if you're just grinding it out. And I really appreciate what Maximilian and Aris has done in sort of solving for that problem by finding avenues or different games even to just have fun, right? And that goes across and carries on very well. I'm not gonna sit in a channel full of negativity. I could watch Fox News for that. When I come and watch a stream, I wanna bask in like good vibes. So it's very difficult to do that in our current state. But until that future comes, I would like to see more people having fun. It does take a bit of creativity to find that.
And just like Z was saying, watching two people fight, we have a lot of streamers that will host tournaments for the community, and they're not even playing themselves, they're just watching with their community. So more ideas that we can do like that outside of the normal streaming rank, those are the types of things we're looking to do more of and promote. That'll help the community grow.
Not necessarily for creators, but I think we as viewers and fans can also help push that content. Someone, for whatever reason, decided to upload the K-Brad clip to World Star Hip Hop, and I saw it there. And I was like, oh, this is really funny. And so imagine that crowd for World Star. They're probably not watching a lot of video games, but the Good Samaritan that did upload it to that site then spread our community, our content, our players, our very exciting things that are happening to like a new broader audience. So you could also be an advocate and an ally, not even being a top player. In fact, if we were all top players, we wouldn't be down here, would we? We would be upstairs in like top 8. And so what can we do as fans of the game, as spectators? It is to get that content, get that clip, download extract that video, put it on Instagram, put it on World Star, put it on the most ratchet sites and the far places of the internet, and we can get more eyeballs to it. And that's how we can sort of grow as a scene. I don't take it lightly when I'm saying all we need is that one moment, and maybe it was that crab thing. I feel like that should have taken us to the next level where the world is like, what is going on here? I'm interested in why this gentleman has crabs being thrown his direction, and that will pique some interest from people that don't know what we do. Any other questions? Cameraman, anything? Any questions? Help me fill the time.
Well, I guess to add to the other thing, I think it's like you all are the most knowledgeable of the community. Like I can sit here and say that I know the FGC like some of these two do, but I don't. But it's just from an outsider perspective, if you're able to see a lot of these flaws with your community, seeing that it's not getting good viewership, I think it definitely is in your hands to change that. Whether it's making content, whether it's being an active person in the community, like Z was saying, you can surface a lot of these things. And that is the same thing for other communities like sneakers and lifestyle. If those people are not active, then how will the big companies like a Nike or an Adidas see that? And that's the same goes for an ESPN wanting to honor, fighting games further, or other games and developers wanting to step into this space. If the people in the community are complaining about how it sucks and it doesn't grow, then they're going to see that too. So I think it's just like a joint collective effort. As much as we want the big dogs to be here, we also need some people that aspire to want to become, fighting game streamers and content creators, and also the people that are reinforcing that, like the Maximilians. Yeah, we can lead, you can follow their lead, but they're also unique in their own. I don't think we are all trapped on making the same content as them. I think we all can share that. I mean, the content that you're going to create are going to be completely different, but it's more of like whether or not you're going to do it. This is really where it lies.
Yes, you, sir, in the hat. And I'll go right to you after that. As a viewer, as a player, the best thing that you could do is play fighting games with someone. Period. It doesn't even need to be streamed. Just playing is the one thing that is going to ensure our survival. There is going to be a future where we're run amok by 13-year-old Fortnite people dancing over our corpse, flossing over our corpses, because we are faced with obsolescence, right? Like, we as a genre, we're niche, and we're not growing as fast as we are with other tier 1 esports. We're becoming, I mean, Evo is really good because it's growing year on year, but there is a fear, given, you know, how difficult it is to get offline and play with someone, that we will become irrelevant in the TikTok like generation. The attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, so I would say just play and have fun, and through that you will connect through other people, you will get intertwined into the community, and then from that you will naturally be more curious, seek out more content online, and then hopefully one day even, you know, take a stab at creating your own you know, content. But even having like a friend and jumping in a Discord and talking about strats and combos is very important. It is actually the people that don't play that are like, oh, like FGC is like too small, that is causing the shrinkage, because they're not providing anything to the actual offline experience, which is what the heart of it is. This is the magic when you come down to Evo.
There was a quote I said earlier, go to your locals, and I was actually supposed to say, like, go to your locals, because there's so much opportunity there. That's where you'll find your friend, that's where you'll find your partner, that's where you'll find someone that's the same level as you, and that's how you get started off playing more. Like, I remember when I first started, you're gonna play 100 matches with that person, and it's gonna go by just like that, and then you'll be that much better right after. But even outside of playing, like, local scene has become such a big thing. You might even get a chance to do commentating, and you might not even know that that's something you wanted to do in the first place. But so many different opportunities there, whether it's those two things or even tournament organizing for them. They always need a lot of help, so tons of ways to get involved.
Yeah, in terms of like FGC, this is like the only community in all the genres that I get to work in that actually collaborates and gets together like this. Like, Evo is huge. As much as people want to compare that to like Fortnite World Cup, Fortnite's growing. Fortnite World Cup, you go there to watch a game and you watch people win money. Very similar to this, but there's no camaraderie to it. People go to watch Fortnite. They don't go there to meet up with their friends. They don't go there to sit in panels. This is like a huge difference. Evo is so big in that regard, where there's people that get together over matches and laugh and cry and make fun of each other and do things like that. You don't see that at other conventions. You don't see that at E3. You don't see that at PAX. So it's something that's really special, and it's interesting to me why, you know, they say that it's slowing down, or it's like, you know, the poverty or whatever that Z always jokes about. But I mean, the people are definitely here. They're more passionate than most of the other conventions that I go to. So, you know, I just, like Chia said, I encourage you all to go to locals. I think you all are already very good friends with each other, more than other communities. So, you know, I really push you all to go out and just make friends in your local places, because you guys will be doing shows together, doing podcasts together, making content together. I assure you that.
Yeah, it's really important for cross-pollination. Darius is a really good example. You know, the sneaker guys from Nike were down here. There's a lot of people lurking around because I think they see the potential in our community. If you recall last year, Ninja actually hosted Street Fighter on his channel, and that boosted it up, you know, like X%. So the interest is there. How do we convert those people from online observers and maybe lurkers in the chat to actually coming down here is, you know, the next question. But I think if you were to take a pulse around Evo, there's a lot of like Illuminati like lurking around here. There's a lot of tier 1, tier 2 esport orgs that are looking for talent. You know, they're dressed in like plains clothes or whatever, but they reek of esports. I see them. And a lot of great businesses too that see this as a much better cost performance than if you were to invest like 30, 40 mil in an Overwatch league. Like, why don't I just plow it into here and get 10x the return if what I'm trying to do is buy an audience? I think we have, you know, one of the best cost performance in any genre really across the competitive titles. So they're here. And I think to the panel yesterday, I think it was Women FGC, we need to make it more welcoming. We need to make it more inclusive so that people don't come here and feel ostracized or they feel like it's an old boys club. And it's very easy to fall into that trap because historically, fighting games has been very cliquish. And it's by design too, right? The execution has always been glorified. It's like, oh, you do that sick ass infinite combo, like you're a god now. But how many people can really do that? So you're really only speaking about the 1%. But what about the 99% of us that can't, you know, that will never be on a top 8 stage? What are our contributions? And I think some of the better events in the year, whether it be CEO or Combo Breaker or SEAM in Singapore, you had to start thinking about what can I do to serve the bottom base of the pyramid that is not a top player, right? Tokido, Punk, they're always going to get theirs. They're gods. Daigo's going to get his, like he's a legend. How can I make it fun for yourself or your friends to come down here, to have their friends come down, right? We don't have that multiplier effect until we can get evangelists, and that starts with having a great tournament experience, and not many people think of that because we're so slavish to appease, like, you know, the gods of the fighting games. They're good, right? I'm worried about the person that goes 0-2 and has nothing else to do in the next 2 days.
I also wouldn't, kind of to piggyback off what Z's saying, I wouldn't, I guess, necessarily bottleneck yourself as like a FGC creator. I would, as you as a content creator, you should be letting that speak for itself. If you want to cover mobile games, you cover mobile games. You happen to be from the fighting game community. And we're all gamers and we come from different backgrounds, and it's great that you come from the FGC background, but I also wouldn't let that limit you for having to explain yourself about why you act a certain way. You shouldn't have to, and that shouldn't matter. You shouldn't have to say, hey, I'm from the FGC and we come from a weird world that you don't understand. That doesn't matter. It's more of like what content that you provide, and if it is mobile games and you want to play that on your break, then do it. It's going to make you happy, and that's still making content. And if it happens to be 90% FGC stuff, then great. But you shouldn't have to worry about explaining yourself why you're making FGC content or why you're not.
Yes.
So we haven't really worked with locals too much, but let's connect and let's make something happen. If they have a channel and they're partnered, and you guys have the numbers, let's definitely do it.
Yeah, I don't see how that would be any different than supporting like Twitch Chicago. I mean, I'm not the one that obviously like makes those decisions, but I mean, if it's big enough where there's a community that's active, then I don't see a reason why we can't help you somehow.
Yeah. And if they're not partnered yet, like, still, let's work together.
So the third biggest channel, aside from Maximilian and avoiding the puddle, is actually a local. It's Team Spooky, which is basically NLBC. So what does that local, that New York local for me have that nothing else has? It really has a very strong vibe. It has very strong personalities. They're very loud, right? They're very sassy. Of course, a lot of top players go there, but sometimes they don't. Like the strongest players may not necessarily congregate in NLBC as they once did in like the crazy heyday, but they're still able to retain a good portion of the viewership. One, they're consistent. I always know when they're on. And two, I just, like, I don't want to miss another like stick throw or, you know, like there's something magical about that. And of course I'm very biased, right? I have a soft spot for New York, but my question to throw it back to you is why should I give a damn about your logo? In the same way that why should I give a damn about Spooky? I can give you a litany of reasons why it is like must-see TV every Wednesday, you know, when it goes on. That is my decompression from work, right? I like to see like people mess around, but I also like to see high level. And I know once it gets to top 3, there's going to be some really dope play. Until then, I can be guaranteed like a lot of laughter, a lot of jokes on the microphone. So that's sort of my go-to, but I challenge the notion that locals cannot succeed in the current paradigm because our number 3 channel is in very much, you know, in many ways a local. Of course, Spooky does do some esport events, but, you know, I go to his channel for that.
Yep.
That was the stick throw, yeah. The Mentos, yeah. That's an excellent point. I think if you set out trying to monetize too quickly, or if that is your end goal, you will fall short of your goal, which is just to get an audience, to get a community, to even show your local strong player, right, and give them more exposure. And I don't want to speak for anyone, but I bet for a lot of the top creators, they didn't set out trying to become the top streamer and getting like, I don't know, subs. Like I was talking to Spooky yesterday. He started out when there was Ustream and Justin TV. There was no monetization features. There was no ads. There was no subs. He was one of the first 100 partners. So, you know, when I look at the people that are successful now, they did not have this in mind. But their adherence to providing good entertainment is what brought them to the top. So, yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, and like locals don't have to be successful based on the numbers themselves. Like if you look at Level Up Live, they have different partners running all the different games that they stream. Like it's not just Level Up Live. You got all these different communities that are involved there. If they know that all these communities are involved along with Level Up Live themselves at this one event, that just speaks for itself. And new locals that don't have that yet, you guys could be those guys that help be those streamers for those games. And it just becomes an even bigger thing at that point, and we'll keep growing from there.
You brought up a really good point about competition, and I think we're reaching a point where companies are coming in and their rival companies will then start to think about how to get into this space. And so what I'm really excited about from yesterday's announcement of the confirmation of the Riot game is that this is surely going to ripple across the pond and get the attention of a Blizzard, right? They're like, oh my God, where's our... There's probably some marketing manager there or product manager like, wait, what? Hey, Bob, where's our fighting game? Well, George, by golly, let's start now. Or they're already planning it, right? Can you imagine, just imagine a world where there's someone in Epic, I think they're in like North Carolina somewhere, in some meeting room, they're like, Billy, did you hear that news at EVO? Riot is making a gosh darn fighting game. Well, what if we were to put our creative geniuses and put some V-Bucks, free to play, those viral dances? I don't think they speak like that. But you get what I'm saying. It's only because we have been so confined in this small space of Capcom, Bandai Namco, NRS, and there's sort of like this SNK, Arc System. They're pretty smaller players relative to the giants out there. But once a giant, right, the big three or the big four, Riot, Blizzard, Epic, start to turn their attention to our genre, I think that's when you get a lot of good benefits as consumers from the competition in the same way that we benefit with Apple versus Google fighting over the space in mobile, right? Between iOS and Android. We reap those benefits. There's like a war to get better cameras. Those selfie cameras, oh my God, like I look beautiful, right? And that's because there's a war between Samsung as well to provide better technology. And I think once we start getting sponsors and pit the PlayStations versus the Xboxes and now the Stadias, right? Google's making the Stadia against one another. We stand to, as consumers, reap the benefits of that competition. So I'm really excited for the space, and it is important to get the Nike and the Adidas like sort of bickering over one of us. But to get that attention, we need to look like a favorable and very fruitful market for them to invest in. Anyone in the back that's not sleeping? You two? Anything? Anything. It could be a comment too. You could throw a tomato from there. What? Best believe I would have cooked that crab. He looks so angry. If you threw a crab at me right now and I caught that, I would go straight to the kitchen and boil that up, put a little ginger on that, get some chili crab. I'll borrow some packets from Yongda, get that chili crab from Singapore. That is a present from the gods. That's a gift from the gods. What are you doing? Why are you so angry?
It's $11.99 a pound at least.
Yeah. I get that crab miso, just crack that baby right open. I get a spoon, I get that raw.
Got that crab butter.
Okay, well, it seems like we are about done here. Again, thank you very much. Again, it's a shrinking crowd, but I think that's an analogy to the fighting game community. Let us fight the irrelevance that we are fighting against some of the bigger giants with, I don't know, every year it gets more depressing, fewer people, but we are the bearers of the flame. Let's carry that torch, and the best way to light that is to fight with someone in the game. Do you remember when you guys got started? I bet someone beat you up in a fighting game, and that lit a fire in you, and you're like, yeah? Yes? Yeah. Do you remember that? Man, I was so salty when I was a kid. My brother beat me at a game. So the best thing you can do to go one further from playing a fighting game is to beat someone's ass. And not to the point where they give up completely, I'm going to pour Fortnite, but to get them to come and want to get better and beat you. That is like the perfect level of ass beating that you want to be handing out. So go play video games, go play fighting games, and I welcome the future of the Fortnite fighting game that hopefully is being in development after yesterday's announcement from Riot. There's a good future. Just hold on until that day comes.
Don't stampede each other on the way out either.